What's going on, everybody? Dr. My Average Gamer Guys back yet again. More Call of Duty World War II action. And realize this is a video I wanted to do. I just really wanted to talk through some beginner tips. Now that we're starting to get into the holiday season, a lot of people are probably going to be picking this game up actually for Christmas, or hopefully getting it for a Christmas gift. And I just kind of want to cover just a few basic things overall, some stuff that I've found through playing in the game that I've had some success with, and just kind of share my overall experience going into it. So nothing spectacular here, but if you are just jumping into it, or you are new to the Call of Duty franchise, probably a good little guide to just kind of talk through some of the differences at least this game has comparative to some of the other games, and some things to take a look for and just keep an eye out for. So the first thing you're seeing on the screen right here is going to be your orders. You have daily orders, you have weekly orders. While this concept is not new to a lot of games, I will say for me this is a great way using those to just kind of get into a groove and really kind of just build up your supplies. They're a good way to get experience gains. They're also a great way to get supply drops, which drop experience gains as well. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for me. And probably my first real tip is to try, if you can, to work through and get through that first prestige. And the reason I say that is because that's going to allow you to figure out, one, it's going to allow you to test out all the weapons. It's going to allow you to figure out what you like. And it's also going to let you just kind of play through and get used to the different guns, the different basic trainings that you have, the different divisions. And it's going to give you that, really that coveted prestige unlock token. It's also going to free you up, give you an additional unlock space. Some of the stuff you see me scrolling through here is actually kind of right in line with that. I'm currently sitting at my second prestige, about level 22 or so, and what I'll say is that it's been really nice to be able to come in from a prestige level, already have a weapon ready to go that I'm used to, already have a basic training that I really like, and just have some experience with the different weapons, and have that capability to jump in any of the game modes and feel good about being able to do well because I've got something that I enjoy. And really it lines up again with being able to prestige, getting that unlock token, and being able to use it on something that you're going to use very consistently. The other thing to note is prestige works a little bit different in this game. I feel like, at least with the divisions, it does than in past games. You keep all of your progress for a lot of stuff. When you prestige your character, you obviously relock all of the weapons, but your actual progress with those weapons stays, which is pretty interesting. So if you get one of the weapons, you really end up liking it, you don't prestige the weapon, you end up prestiging your character. When you do unlock that again, that weapon's going to be ready to go for you. It's going to be at the same level. Really the same thing happens with your division. Now the nice thing with the divisions is once you prestige each of the divisions one time, you're going to get a permanent weapon unlock that stays unlocked no matter what. It'll stay unlocked no matter if you prestige the division again, and it stays unlocked no matter how many times you prestige after that, which if you do all 5 divisions, if you think about it, the first time you prestige, if you do that, you prestige each of the divisions once during the course of that time, which I think is very doable. You'll come to find that you end up having 5 weapon unlocks plus the 1 permanent unlock if you choose to use it on a weapon. So essentially you really have 5 decent classes with 5 pretty good weapons that you can use from the get-go to have some success. So that's kind of, I guess, my second tip is use that unlock token, obviously strategically, use it well, but also work to prestige each of those divisions at least one time. Get yourself a couple of the weapon unlocks for each of them, and then you should be good to go. At least every time after that, when you prestige, you always have something to look forward to, obviously, because you get another unlock token, but you also just have weapons that you can use, like I said, that are pretty good. I think the MP40 that you get from the Airborne Division is awesome. I think the SVT is a really good weapon as well. And that comes from the Infantry Division, and then the Kar-98 is probably the most used sniper, and that is the prestige weapon for the Mountain Division. So right off the bat, I think you get 3 really powerful, really good weapons, and I think that's worthwhile. The other thing I'll say is, and I'm having a terrible game at the start of this, just if you're watching, but I do end up picking it up a little bit. I wanted to talk about weapons. I'm not going to go too much into which weapons are the best in this video. One, because they're going to constantly change. Since the game is released, there's already been, or will soon to be, 2 updates to the game that really incorporate a lot of weapon changes. There's going to be additional weapons that are added in that I think are going to change the dynamic of what's the best and what's not so good anymore. And they're taking a pretty close eye and a pretty close watch on what is used the most, how well it does, and how it balances out. So I think that's important to note. So I won't focus too much on the weapons. One thing I will say about weapons is that you just have to find something that you're comfortable with. You have to find something that you're comfortable with, specifically with accuracy and with the recoil. I think those are the 2 biggest things that I've come to find, that if you can control that, if you find a weapon that you're good and accurate with, and you understand and can control the recoil on it, in order to get some of those longer range distance kills, which pretty much every weapon in this game, to include the SMGs, has the capability to do, I think that's going to be where you find the most success. I'm not going to talk a lot about controls or control configuration either. I think personally, for me, I play on medium controls. I think mine are both set at about 4, and what that does for me is it allows me to have some good reaction speed, ability to look pretty quickly around corners and engage enemies, but at the same time I also don't lose the ability to shoot at longer ranges, and I think that's really important. So I think it's good control, but it has to be whatever's the most comfortable for you, and I think that's the most important. One thing I will talk about that I've had a lot of success with and really started to enjoy, I really played around a lot the first Prestige. Honestly, I tested out a lot of weapons, I tested out a lot of different basic trainings, I really tried to prestige those divisions. Kill to death ratio shows for it, but what I will say in doing all of that, the one thing that I found that's actually been the most fun since I started has been the fact that I started playing hardcore team deathmatch. I'm a big team deathmatch guy. There are a couple different hardcore modes: search and destroy if you're objective type. There's free for all that kind of stuff. The reason I found that I enjoyed hardcore the most was it does 2 things. One, you don't have the minimap that's giving away your position all the time. So while it is pretty heavy with campers, once you learn the maps, and I think that's an important distinction, you really do have to learn the maps. Once you learn the maps and really can kind of understand how they flow, where people like to sit, and just the overall spawn mechanics of everything, in hardcore team deathmatch and hardcore modes in general, I think the one thing that you end up finding, at least I end up finding, is there's a lot of parity with all the weapons. There are definitely weapons that are better. If you're just playing standard game modes, there are definitely weapons that are better than others, just purely on statistics, purely on how they're made, purely on rates of fire, purely, to be honest, sometimes even on reload speed. Obviously accuracy is a huge piece of that, but what I will say is, in the hardcore modes, if there's a weapon that you want to use and you feel somewhat comfortable trying to use it, and are somewhat comfortable with its accuracy, I think you're going to find that you're going to end up having a pretty good time testing those weapons out and playing this game mode. I will say, for me, my kill to death ratio has gone up since I've started playing, and I think again that's because I might not be the fastest on the controls as far as twitch controls and being able to pull my weapon up or fire as soon as I see someone. But what I do understand is I understand the maps a little bit better. I understand how people move and how they flow through the maps. And I understand kind of when to push and when to hold back. And for me, that's a strategy that works pretty well. And I've had a lot of good success with. So I will say test out the different game modes. I do like, for instance, I'm not a huge objective game mode fan, but I really do like Search and Destroy. I think that's a lot of fun. It's always been one of my favorites. But definitely take a look at the hardcore modes. If you just find yourself jumping into the game, you're just not having a lot of success, or there's a weapon that you're trying to use and it's just not working for you because you're just not getting the fast enough kills in regular standard modes, give it a try. Hop over to hardcore. see how it works out for you. I can guarantee you're absolutely going to get some kills with whatever weapon you're trying to use, because again, there's a lot more parity, and I think that you'll end up enjoying it, and you might end up being like me, where I just play it pretty much only play this game mode, at least the hardcore game modes now, unless I have to do specific orders, specific challenges for any of the daily stuff. So that's just another small tip, just something to consider. Beyond that, like I said, just try to have fun with this game. That's the one thing I've realized too. I didn't play a ton of the previous Call of Duty as far as the multiplayer was concerned. I was more into the zombies. This one, I was really excited to be back. People have talked about it a lot, boots on the ground. And with that, I think it came with a little bit of lack of playtime. It came with a little bit of lack of just experience with this game, and I found myself not getting stressed out per se, but just not having as much fun as I probably could have, just trying to enjoy testing out the different weapons, and just really getting used to the game. I will say map awareness, understanding the maps has been absolutely critical, as with really any game, but especially with this one, now that you really have to kind of check your sight lines, you have to just be pretty vigilant and aware of everything that's going on. So just kind of another tip for you. Like I said, the only other things that I would recommend is just try out the basic trainings. There's a lot of differences. Some of the better ones are about the mid-tier, but the nice thing too, if I didn't mention it, when you prestige a division, you're actually going to get an unlock, a permanent unlock for a basic training that kind of really aligns with that specific division as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like I said, I can't stress enough how important it is to prestige your divisions and at least get them through once, and then beyond that, like I said, just find a weapon that you enjoy, that you're used to using, or can get used to using, and from there you should have some pretty good success, like I said. Beyond that, that kind of wraps it up for basic beginner tips, and just kind of the things that I wanted to cover. And I just wanted to talk through, like I said, if you're getting into this game around the holidays, at this point, hopefully the servers, everything has been fixed. Hopefully, still at the time of uploading this, but hopefully when you guys are actually watching this and starting to use it, if you are jumping into the game, hopefully by that point, headquarters works like it's supposed to. And I can tell you that you shouldn't be, and hopefully won't be, soured by the experience that a lot of people had when they first got the game. So that's a bonus for everybody else if you're coming in a little bit later, and that's just something else. I would expect at some point there are going to be some server issues. There are going to be some of those kinds of things going on. So don't let that surprise you if it happens. This game has been plagued by it, and the only reason I want to bring it up is, again, just for the sole fact that it's worth mentioning and it's worth talking about, because it seems to kind of been a part of this game, and something that's definitely happened from the beginning, and hopefully, again, we won't run into it anymore. And you definitely missed out. Like I said, you definitely missed out on the launch of this game. If you hadn't heard about it, there's tons of videos up, ton of people talking about it, so you can kind of hear and talk through what happened and get different people's perspectives on it. But just something to see and consider. So, Doc from Average Gamer, guys, again, hopefully this was helpful for you if you are new into this Call of Duty or jumping into the franchise after maybe a little bit of time off. Like I said, I would 100% recommend it. If you've got Call of Duty fans in your family and they don't have this game, I think they would enjoy it as well. This has been one of the games that I've enjoyed the most, really, since Call of Duty has kind of kicked off. Infinite Warfare and a lot of those kind of lost me as soon as we started flying around and jumping around. I think it just got away from what Call of Duty was, and I think in this one we finally are kind of getting back to that, so it's nice to see. Like I said, I'll come out with some more videos. We'll talk through more of the weapons specifically, and as always, any updates or anything else like that come out for the game, stay tuned to the channel. We will cover all of those, especially when they start getting specific to balance changes, map updates. We do have kind of like a December winter theme update that's been semi-leaked. which I'm excited for. We'll get a different variation of a map, and I think that's when we'll be seeing some of the new weapons come in as well. So really looking forward to that. But as always, if this was helpful for you and you enjoyed it, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I really do appreciate it. Thanks to everybody out there watching and the support to the channel. If you are new, please do make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. Really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out. And we love chatting with you guys as well. So Doc from Average Gamer Guys, as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.